Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. The fallout continues from the J.P. Morgan story. It's moving up the ranks. The manipulation of gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. Let's not forget those two metals. I think that's an important thing to kind of consider here when we're talking about manipulation with J.P. Morgan. This has been going on for over a decade. Let's look at this and how this ties in with not only the faith in the markets, but also cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. Let's explore. Yes, this is comes to us here. Now this is RT. Russia Today is talking about it now. J.P. Morgan traders accused of manipulating the price of gold, silver for a decade, as the Department of Justice tries to look tough on Wall Street. Precious metal traders at J.P. Morgan made millions through fraudulent trades, operating a sprawling criminal conspiracy to manipulate prices, according to the U.S. Justice Department. And this is going to be quite an interesting investigation, as we discussed yesterday. And and I think this is an interesting quote here. It says, these charges should leave no doubt that the department is committed to prosecuting those who undermine the investing public's trust in the integrity of our commodities markets. And keep in mind that this has been going on for a decade. And, they've been slapped with fines, but really a lot of these people have been kind of let go and with really not much of a punishment for the crimes that they've committed. But also look here, I mentioned this in yesterday's video, but trading precious metals at Credit Suisse, and so that's a precious metal firm, as well. So that's going to be interesting to see how that does play out. Deutsche Bank, HSBC, and UBS reached agreements with the Commodities Futures Trading Commission last year to settle claims that their traders use spoofing to manipulate precious metal futures prices, paying $30 million, $1.6 million, and $15 million respectively in order to avoid admitting wrongdoing and the possibility of a prolonged court battle. So you may say, well, that's a lot of money, but maybe for considering what they've made and for as big as those banks are, it may not be that big of a penalty. But nonetheless, we see it. Even Fox News is also covering it. I showed that CNN covered it, and it's making waves here on YouTube. I see now today that other videos are coming out from others talking about this. And, this is something that's going to be a very interesting case to follow. We'll see if how this plays out, if the investigation will widen from here on out. But I think it's something certainly to consider and to pay attention to. And what will this mean for the prices of gold and silver from here on out? This comes to us from Market Insider, that I think has a pretty good outline of the three involved. And this has occurred, trades of gold, silver, platinum, and palladium from 2008 to 2016. So you think about it, this has stopped essentially, at least from these folks and those under them. It stopped in 2016. And so what happens about manipulation, about the prices upwards as well as downwards? And that's the question. What's going on with this, with spoofing? And by the way, spoofing here, it says here they've the two former J.P. Morgan precious metal traders that I talked about in prior videos have already pleaded guilty to illegal spoofing, and they're co-conspirators. Now, this is something that's just a language thing. I think it means something. A conspiracy by its very nature always involves more than one person. So co-conspirator, that language is completely redundant, and pleaded guilty to illegal spoofing. Well, spoofing by its definition is illegal as well. So it is interesting, and that was made, as I mentioned in yesterday's video, that was made illegal in 2011. But here's again the people that are involved. Greg Smith joined J.P. Morgan in May of 2008, served as an executive director and trader of the precious metals desk. So that's a big name there that was charged here. Michael Nowak joined in July 1996. He served as a managing director and ran the global precious metals desk. He's only 45 as well. Christopher Jordan joined in March 2006, serves as an executive director and trader of the precious metals desk, and left J.P. Morgan in December 2009, so I guess he wasn't in it as long. They were charged with one count of racketeering conspiracy, which is big, known as RICO, among with other federal crimes. A lot of this we covered yesterday, but I think we should emphasize the point how big this is, and the fact that the Department of Justice is really cracking down. And I think really it's about time, because they should look at other commodities too. This happens in every market. How will it affect the long-term price of gold and silver, platinum and palladium? I don't know, but my guess is it's happening less these days than it has in the past. Regardless, I believe, and always have believed, that natural market forces play a larger role, but I'm not discounting this a deal that's going on. It's just it's now being brought to light. We all knew it was happening to some point or another, but when there's turmoil and there's these indicators that happen in the market that pushes the prices upwards or downwards so drastically, I think that's proof positive of the natural market forces, how incredibly powerful they are. But now let's move on to another phase here. And I talk about cryptocurrencies in here and how this is related. This comes to us from Cointelegraph, which is basically a cryptocurrency site. We can see here the cryptocurrency prices here with Bitcoin, the top contender here, over 10 grand. Can you imagine if gold went to 10 grand an ounce? $10,000 for one Bitcoin, but that's a speculative play, I believe. So here it says the United States' largest bank faced fresh ridicule from Bitcoin circles this week after prosecutors said traders had conducted more market fraud. As Bloomberg reported on September 16th, that's the article I discussed yesterday, J.P. Morgan Chase is facing an inquiry over the behavior of at least a dozen precious metal traders. J.P. Morgan performed thousands of illegal moves, and according to the investigators, employees willfully engage in price fixing of precious metals on thousands of occasions. Both market participants and J.P. Morgan's own clients suffered losses as a result, they claim. Based on the fact that it was conduct that was widespread on the desk, it was engaged in thousands of episodes over an 8-year period. We're going to follow the facts wherever they lead, whether it's across desk here or any other bank or upwards into the financial institution, Bloomberg quoted Assistant Attorney General Brian Bensowski as saying. J.P. Morgan is well known as being one of the more vocal skeptics of cryptocurrencies. CEO Jamie Dimon became notorious for his sound bites, which began in 2017, where he labeled Bitcoin itself Bitcoin a fraud in itself. Dimon since appeared to have changed of heart, pledging not to discuss Bitcoin again in public while denying he disliked it in private comments to Cointelegraph. I believe he also, didn't he create his own? Yeah, it says here, more recently the bank released its own digital currency offering, JPM Coin, which gains similar criticism over its technical characteristics. The irony of the precious metal scandal was thus not lost on crypto commentators. They were charged with wire fraud, bank fraud, and market manipulation. But I was told by the CEO that Bitcoin is the fraud, Twitter analyst known as Rhythm summarized. J.P. Morgan is not the only bank to issue warnings over cryptocurrency's alleged fraudulent nature while being embroiled in legal turmoil. In 2018, Dutch institution Rabobank claimed Bitcoin contained money laundering compliance hazards. Subsequently, authorities fined it $360 million in money laundering. So, it just goes to show you that, there can be fraud in anything. The exchanges and the like, and how all this plays out. Any institution or any organized thing can have fraud or whatever engaged to it. My feeling is that the actual metal itself, gold, silver, platinum, or palladium, once it's in your hands, the metal itself cannot be corrupted. The price thereof can for a short time. But again, as I stated earlier, and I'll stress this, and I can't stress this enough, as a long-term hold, as an insurance policy, gold, silver, especially, those metals are really, they're fraud-proof. if you hold them in your hand. There's fraud related around them. That's why I like to hold the physical. So post your thoughts below about this story and about how it relates to cryptocurrencies, but also in general. And I'll post a link at the end screen of this video back to yesterday's video, which was shared with me in comments and others, and has broken the news. It's kind of all over now. We'll see where it goes from here. But I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to y'all for watching, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.